What is up, tubers? Joey back here with some more fun information. This time I am going to switch things up a little bit on you. What we're going to take a look at now is price action instead of using our indicators. I'm still using indicators kind of as a guide, but I am using price action more so than the indicators. It has been tremendously successful here for me for the last working on 3 weeks here. I'll show you kind of a running tally here. When I first actually started, I think a week before then, it looked promising, so I started keeping track. Again, what I'm looking at for everyone is just trying to get $100 a day. If you can develop $100 a day in trading and you're getting about $500 a week, you are doing not too bad. That's a good way to start. That's a good way for supplemental income. It's also a good way if you are retired or looking at retired of generating some income. Bigger picture, the best thing to do is have money in a Roth IRA, and anything that you earn in a Roth IRA. For instance, here, this isn't a Roth IRA. This is a regular IRA that I just kind of use for fun on doing some of this day trading stuff. But if this was a Roth IRA, in this case, the 636 would be totally tax-free. This would be tax-free. All of this would be tax-free. So you can see here that I started out pretty good. I made my goal of 500. Here, I was a little up and down. I went totally undisciplined here on Friday. Kept trying to beat the market, and it was really a choppy market, and I wasn't having any success. I kept coming back to it, and I should have quit a long time ago. But you can see that even I am human. We all are human. Sometimes we lose a little bit of lack of discipline, but I still ended up on the positive side last week. This week started out a little slow. Tuesday here, I was actually up $200. I should have just quit. Anytime you get up that to what your goal is, it's okay to quit. I still wanted to keep pushing it, and it ended up being negative 158. You can see I've had a couple good back-to-back days here, so I'm well above. Even if I wanted to take tomorrow off, I'm well above the goal of the week of $500 at 854. And if we added all three of these up and we just looked at it kind of like a 3-week period, you could see I'm well above what the whole $1,500 if we're looking at $500 a week. So that's kind of the goal. That's kind of what I'm looking at. This is kind of what I've been doing. I kind of like how it's working out so far, and I want to kind of show you what I am doing and see if it's something that can be successful for you. So you can see here today, I started out up 604, or in the TQQ, or excuse me, the SQQQ. I ended up 604, but I did play around in the inverse, the TQQ, and that brought me down a little bit. So I ended up 72, and I think I lost like another $30 in another stock. So that's what brought me to I was up that 600 some. That's what brought me down to the 504, but still well within kind of what we're looking for, kind of the goal that I have for myself in doing this, and also would be a good goal for yourself as well. So how do we do this? How do we do just price action without using we still use these as a guide, but with price action, specifically here in these stocks that I'm using, these are index stocks and they're inverse stocks, which means when this one goes up, this one is going to go down. When this one goes down, this one goes up. So part of it is obviously being on the one that's going up and having that price action where you're getting the patterns that you're looking for, which is these up and down patterns. So here you can see TQQ and SQQ in the beginning. The TQQQ was way down, so we were looking for a rebound there. That's why I wasn't in this one. I actually stayed in the SQQ in the beginning, and that's where I made the money that I did right away in the beginning. One of the things I look for in jumping into a stock is the first thing is I like to just trade these two. One of the best things about trading this one and this one is there's several variables. Number one is these always have a high volume. So with the high volume, there's less risk of kind of that whipsaw action, kind of something like this. You'll see less of that. It'll be much more stable and sturdy when you're putting in larger sums of money. In this case, I'm just sticking around 25,000 per time whenever I purchase the stock. And so I just stick around that 25,000. So that's one thing you want to look for is the high volume and a consistent stock. So these are always pretty consistent. They're pretty stable. You can, I don't know if I'd want to go higher than 25,000. And the reason that one of the things that I like to look at here is I like to keep the volume average. So if you're looking at what the average volume is for day, that's what this line represents here. So you can see we had above average volume here. That is good because one of the things with the volume is I want to be able to, when I'm ready to sell, I want to be able to sell and not have my 25,000 not have any support down here, and me selling, I'm the only one selling, and all of a sudden it goes way down here, and even if I was up say $100, all of a sudden I'm down $25 because there was no volume support there. So I like to see a lot of volume. One of the things I look at as well is if you look on the top here, you can see that that's what looks like 48,000. This was 95,000. So you can kind of look and see, or was that 950 or 846,000, excuse me. So by looking at the volume, you see that you have plenty of support there. Here was 30,000, 30,000. So in instances like this as well, even if it's a lower, there's still plenty of volume there for you to sell when you want to sell, buy when you want to buy, and not have you being the only one selling and or buying, and have you don't want to be the one that's making the large candle, especially when you're selling it down. And because making that large candle down, that means there's no support. You don't have any buyers for your sell until you're down here, and you've lost everything that you've gotten up here. So those are some of the key things that you want to look for. And also in just sticking with stocks like these that are pretty consistent is you kind of get used to how they work. I've really gotten kind of a feel for these stocks in the 3 weeks that I've been doing it. We're actually about 4 weeks that I've been doing it. So I kind of have a feel for it. So one of the things that I do with the price action is I'm just kind of looking as a guide. So using these as a guide, let's zoom in here a little bit. So I am using the fast MACD, and that is just the setting of 3, 10, and 16 using the hull. And so, this is a standard thing right here is the crossover. So I'm looking as a crossover. I'm looking at, there was a lot of, we are down here in the oversold territory. So those are good signs. We've got the candle as I'm watching it. As I'm watching, I like to be able to see as the candle, or not, excuse me, the volume candle is developing. I like to see if it's starting off as green and if it's kind of staying green. If it's kind of going green, red, green, red, green, red, and it's still kind of undecided. But if it's starting to go green and I've kind of got these signs, I will go ahead and buy, and then I will sit here on the flatten and I will just wait and see. And if it starts going against me, I'll immediately sell, and I'll just kind of keep waiting. In this case here, looking here, this would have turned out okay. What we're looking for is we're just going to skim this. So we're probably have purchased, somewhere around here. Maybe it would have dropped down a little bit. So here, and then we're kind of watching here again. I still see a green candle kind of coming up. We've crossed over the 0 line, which is also a good sign. So I would be holding, and all of a sudden we'd have a nice jump up, and then I would probably sell. And so many times we're only looking at like 20, 30, 40, 50, $60 at a time you're selling, and you'll get a lot of other folks doing the same thing because you'll see that this will go up and then it'll come down as people kind of sell like I do, and then it drops back down, and then if it's still looking positive, I might buy again. As it goes back up, I'll flatten it again. Sometimes it'll drop down and then I'll flatten. So you're kind of, many times you're just kind of skimming and getting that $40, $50 at a time. Sometimes it'll drop down, you lose 20, but you get out, and then all of a sudden you hit something like this where you're kind of staying in, you're watching, it's staying green, it's staying up here, and you just kind of get a feel for it. I'm seeing my Vince iron rod is staying green. It's heading up, so everything is looking good. So in this case, what I did this morning is I jumped in. Actually, I didn't follow my my pattern that I like to wait for. We're looking at just the 1 minute candles here, so I like to wait until those first 5 candles develop before I jump in, because these are very volatile. You can jump in and boom, you're down $200 right away, and then you're kind of stuck. Okay, do I stick with it? Do I not stick with it? And lo and behold, guess what I did? I went against my thing, and I think I bought like right around in here. I was down a couple $100, but I had faith. I had that this was going to turn around, and actually did turn around, and I rode it all the way up to, I think I got out like right about here. And because I had a previous line here of resistance that I saw that it was approaching, and I wanted to get out right about there. Ended up being a great time to get out, and I was up at I think in the morning I was up about 650. I lost a little bit here, but I think right away I was up 650. Good way to start. Best way to start is just in the morning. If you can get your money right away in the morning in these first few minutes, shut it off. You're good for the day. You've reached your goal. But since I'm also wanted to kind of push this and try this a little bit more, I've been sticking with it a little bit more during the day, trying to get more of a feel for it. And what I've found is these morning times and towards the end of the day, and sometimes like right around that lunchtime, are the best times to buy. So that is kind of some of the things that I look for. I think it's important for you all to give it a try, see if it works for you. Again, you're going to be dumping in a lot of money. You want to, these are let's take a look here. Well, this should be a pretty good gain. Yeah, that's 2.46 there, but normally you're only looking at like maybe 0.3%, gains here that you're going in and you're getting out. So they're small gains, but it kind of adds up over time. And when you're on a roll like this, these are times that you can, get 20, 30, get another 30, 40, get another 40, maybe get another 50, and next thing you know, you're over 100, you're up to 200. Then you've already met your goal. The rest is gravy. Another thing, and I think you've all seen me do this before, is I will draw lines when we've got something like this going. I like to draw the line, and as soon as this crosses over to the line, I like to get out right away. That's usually a sign that either it's flattening out or it's going to drop. Here in this case, it flattened out, went up a little bit, flattened out, and then eventually it dropped. Um, and then TQQ took over and had a great afternoon. A couple secret things that I look for. Obviously, this is anecdotal, but a couple things I like to look for to see if a stock is going to go up in the morning or go down is I like to look at the 3 o'clock time frame when it opened up. So it ended 1900 hours, and then Thursday, 3 o'clock in the morning when the market opened, it went up. So to me, I've been looking at that, and if I see that it's going up here, that is a really strong sign that it's probably going to go up in the morning. And lo and behold, I was right this morning. But many times what you'll have to wait out is, so everything I had was this thing's going to go up. So, but you have to wait this out in the morning, because a lot of times this may like go way down, might go way down before it goes up. So that's why I always say to wait until, after the 5th candle. Another thing that I've noticed too is the 4th candle is a good sign of what it's going to be doing. Here the 4th candle went up. So to me, going up at 3 a.m., 4th candle going up here, to me that was a good sign that we're going to have a nice surge in the morning, and that turned out to be right here. Those are a couple tricks that I've learned. Again, it's anecdotal, but in the 3 weeks I've done it so far, it has been fairly accurate. Obviously, there are things that can affect it, such as things happening in the stock market, news coming out that can, it can crush any pattern that you're looking at. It could instantly change things. But for the most part, normal, stable patterns, that's some of the things that I look at. And you can even go back to further days and see. So let's go back to previous day, and let's see what we were here. Okay, where is 3 o'clock? Okay, there was 3 o'clock. Sometimes you'll see it's not very clear. So here it wasn't very clear if it went up or down because we just have a red candle. If we look at TQQ, let's see what that did at 3 a.m. And you can see here it did the same thing. So they both did the same thing. This went up, and SQQ SQQ went down, but the 3 o'clock wasn't really clear, but then it went down. So in this instance, I might be a little hesitant, but I'd say, okay, this one went down, so TQQ is probably going to go up. Let's see what TQQ did yesterday. And I believe it did go up yesterday. Yes, it did go up yesterday. 1, 2, 3, fourth candle. This candle looks like it stayed red, so it wasn't totally clear. Again, anecdotal, but there it had that nice surge waiting your 5 candles. I always actually like, if I think it's going to go up for the day, I actually like when it drops way down here. That's better profit for you. You want to get it down at a much better lower price and then have it surge like this. So give that a try. Give those few tricks a try. See if they're helpful for you. I'm going to keep on this here for another few weeks. See if this continues. But so far the pattern is looking pretty good. So good luck to you, and I hope that this has been helpful and this works out for you.